Today, we give our grades on the 2024 outfielders, recap the AFL, and talk World Series. You're listening to the Bucko Banner podcast, brought to you by the Just Baseball Media Network. Cue the music.
Rockin' 101s, yeah, she compliment my taste. Whiskey in my lemonade, cause I like the way it tastes. Best seats at the Pirates, yeah, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates. Order steak by the plate, send in case after case. Run my race at my pace, clear the grass of the snake.
Adam, welcome back. Another episode off of a great interview with Nikki G. That was awesome. And also,
that was so much fun.
We're getting to the end of October, and it seems like going on podcasts if you're running for president of the United States is hot in the streets. So whoever wants to come on, let us know. I was kidding. I'm kidding.
That's funny. It's like us and Caller Daddy.
Yeah, and Joe Rogan, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, that's usually the three that people have in rotation, man. Yeah, it's hot in the streets right now.
Yeah, podcasting.
Especially in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Huh?
Big time.
We had another protest.
We did. And this time what did it quadruple in size?
I mean, it might
15
have
people?
15 people was reported.
Versus
I don't think anyone. I think last time it was 2 to 3. So it was 3, right? Last time. I don't want to short them.
It was less than 5.
Listen, I'm gonna the same sentiment I gave before. Good for you if you want to get out there.
Yeah.
That's fine. I unfortunately couldn't make it today because football was on. So I had a nice spot on the couch. I was nice and cozy. It was a nice fall day. Good day to protest, I guess. Clear skies.
Nice.
Yeah. One guy had a sign that just promoted his t-shirt company. So I don't know if he was just out there to protest the Pirates or to promote his t-shirt company. Either way, get your bag, man. It's all whatever works, but
yeah,
people are angry. I think they made it all the way from the city county building to PNC Park. They left a sell the team shirt on the administrative doors of the Pirates, so somebody got a free shirt.
Pretty cool.
I don't think anyone's in the building right now.
Ben Charrington definitely took that and put it in his back pocket. He's like, I'm gonna keep this.
That's my bedtime shirt now.
No, I mean, listen, I admire the passion for the team. I'm not going to knock that. But I think, speaking candidly, let's be realistic a little bit. He's not going to sell the team.
Right.
All right. Like this is the reality we live in. And this brings in massive amounts of money for him.
$68 million a year.
It's a cash cow. He makes a lot of money off this team, and anybody in his shoes would never even think about selling. So while I admire the passion and you know the desire for a winning team in Pittsburgh, let's also temper our expectations.
Yeah, it's going to be a uphill battle, especially if you're all eggs in the basket for Bob Nutting selling the team. Because guess what? 2025 is going to come around. He's going to be the owner of the team.
Yep.
And it's like, do you not go to the games? Do you not watch your favorite baseball team? Like, do you continue with the protest? Like, if you're real about this, then you're pushing the protest during the season as well.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
And it's like, then it's like, can you enjoy baseball even if they the boys get hot? Like, are you still protesting? Like, I think it's a lose-lose situation, man.
Definitely.
Because unfortunately, you're right. He's not gonna get rid of this team. I think Mark Cuban said it best. He said, owning the Pirates is like standing in Market Square and allowing people to yell at you for $68 million a year. He's like, who would give up that job? Exactly.
I mean,
you're right, man.
It makes total sense. And, you know, I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do with this movement, like during the rest of the offseason into next year, because I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't see where it's going, but
they said they're going to be at Pirates Fest.
Okay. That will be fun. I'm going to go get my jersey, but I will see them there.
Yeah. I've already said I am bringing $200 with me, and I'm going to buy 4 jerseys
There we go.
I get what I get. Maybe I give something away. Maybe I keep it. Maybe I hang it up. I'm hoping I get 4 more Kevin Kramer jerseys.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I hope we get another Curtis Parch. I hope we get a Heath Hembry because Heath Hembry was hot in the streets last year.
He was. I mean, you got a Joe Musgrove, so
How about Joe Musgrove? I got lucky. Yeah.
I think that's probably the best one I've seen. I didn't see
For
like
sure.
any current players or anything like that.
No.
But hey, let's talk a little bit about the current state of the team. There was some news that happened. Kevin Tenenbaum was hired as the new VP of Research and Development. He was with the Guardians, Scott. So they're picking from a team with a similar payroll, similar market, but a winning culture.
Yeah, I like this hire. I think R&D is an area where they've been lacking or not excelling. And I don't know anything about Kevin Tannenbaum, so I'm not going to act like I do. But if you're pulling from the Cleveland organization, I feel like there's a good bet that you got a good guy here. So we'll see.
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree. I don't know much about him either, but if you're going to start taking 2025 seriously, you need to put people in the building that have that experience, that have a run into the postseason. We talked about it with Noah, and he quoted, this is around the quote that he said, you can't do it with a bunch of guys that haven't been there before. And I think that applies to front office as well. You need guys with experience, and this is somebody with experience. So hopefully the right hire. We'll see how it works out. If any other moves are made, we'll keep you updated. But Scott, we planned on doing some outfield grades today.
Yes.
I know a lot of people have been doing this, and I've seen some grades that I don't necessarily agree with, that I agree with. I'm going to be pretty tough on my scale. I think an A for me is an outstanding year.
It's like giving an 80 on the scouting scale, right?
Yeah. And maybe we should have gone with a scouting scale as well, because the A to F system is a little iffy, but we're going to try our best with it. We're going to start with the outfielders, and then other episodes will move on to different positions and pitchers, bullpen, etc. Maybe even coaching staff. Who knows? But let's start off with you, Scott. Why don't we go to Brian Reynolds? What do you got here?
Yeah. Brian Reynolds, probably the most consistent bet on the team, had a 118 WRC plus this year. He is someone that struggled mightily. One of the worst left fielders in the league this year. And it doesn't help that he is in the biggest left field probably in baseball. One of the biggest. I'm going to still round up though. I was focusing on a B here, but I'm going to give him an A- because I think he, 275 on the year, had almost 25 home runs. Like, this is a guy that who's locked up for the long term here in Pittsburgh, kind of the face of the offense right now. And where he plays defensively, I don't think that ends up in the outfield long term, but we'll see. A- for me. A-.
I think we're going to have to go with an A- here. I was at a B+, A- / since 2021, he's hit 24, 27, 24, and 24 bombs. So I think, that being said, he's been able to stay consistent. And I don't think the Pirates have done him any favors in left field.
No.
The negative 12 run value is what's keeping him from being an A to A+ player, because he is the most professional hitter that we have on this team. He's been able to keep the K rate down to around 22.5%. His BABIP, when he's putting the ball in play, Scott, 330.
It's BABIP king.
He's a BABIP king. So I don't want to short him, because going into 2024, the emphasis was him getting his arm strength up. That's something that he wanted to work on a lot. The arm was good this year.
Yeah.
From the outfield. He had a lot of outfield assists. At one point, he was leading the league in outfield assists. Does that mean he can't up his defense in the outfield next year? Is that going to be a point of emphasis going into this offseason? I don't know how much he can improve from a negative 12, unless maybe you're moving him to right field. I just don't think left field's the fit. We'll see if maybe first base is the option, but he has to be one of only a few A players on this team right now, at least position players.
100%. Yeah, I definitely rounded up because of that. I gave him a little bit of a bump due to the contract and his pedigree and everything like that. So 2.1 more player this year. Um, I expect another good offense this season. Next year, he's on the north side of 30 now. So uh, hopefully they maximize his window here.
Yeah. He had a career high in at-bats this year.
Yeah.
622.
Wow.
And he still put up great numbers. And you know how he is the month of July, is it June or July, where he just gets scorching hot.
Yeah.
He's a staple in this lineup. They have to have him healthy moving forward, and him being able to have 622 at bats. That's not including, I think the plate appearances was like 692 or something like that. So him being in the lineup every day is key. He only missed like a handful of games this year.
Yep.
He rarely takes a day off. So we started with Brian Reynolds. I think we're giving A-. Right?
Yep.
Which, let's go to the polar opposite. Let's go to BDLC, Brian De La Cruz. We acquired him from the Marlins at the trade deadline. We've talked about it countless times on this podcast, how we feel about that trade, how we feel about BDLC. His slash line this year, 233, 271, 384, 655 OPS. He had 21 home runs on the year, 3 as a Pirate. So they acquired him with 18 home runs from the Marlins, hoping that he would add some power to that lineup that was severely lacking in the first half of the season. And it just did not translate. 68 RBIs, only 5 stolen bases, 5.8% walk rate, Scott, 27.3 K rate, which is a career high for him. Negative 1.2 WAR player, 77 WRC plus, 183 batting average on breaking balls. Last year, it was almost 250.
Yeah.
So severe decline. The only positive run value this year was on a changeup, and his chase rate was up to 32.6%. These are high numbers if you don't know the scale. Defense was atrocious. Yeah. We knew this when he came over in the trade. He had a -5 run value this year, -8 outs above average. Constant bobbles of the ball. It was almost like a trademark BDLC bobble anytime a ball was hit to him. Terrible routes. He has a strong arm. I'll give him that. But just all around, it's like right field or bust for him. There's no way you could put him anywhere else. You can't trust him as a DH because it doesn't hit. My grade here, Scott, is an F.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's an F.
I'm gonna have to do the same thing, man, because like ever since he was acquired at the deadline, they were trying to, acquire bats to aid this offense. The pitching wasn't the problem, at least the starting pitching, and he didn't do it. I mean, I think he hit his first home run like a month after acquiring him, and he didn't have an extra base hit either. He struck out a ton. I mean, this is the type of player he is, though. Like, and you see that he doesn't run high OBPs either because he swings a lot. He swings it a lot. Doesn't have a lot of patience at the plate. Below average defense. This is a DH at a very young age. This is a DH, and I can't think of another grade other than an F right now because of how underwhelming his second half was with the Pirates.
If he would have came over and hit sub 250 and hit 10 to 12 more bombs, totally different conversation.
Oh yeah. Totally different
conversation, because at that time you're pushing, or apparently pushing, for a playoff run, for a wild card spot. Just didn't cut it, man. And like, I don't see how you could go into 2025 with him being a part of the equation.
Even more so if they bring back Kutch and, you have a Brian Reynolds. Those guys all have DH profiles.
Yeah.
So are you really going to have 3 guys on the team that have DH profiles with below average defense?
You simply can't have it, because you need guys like Triolo coming off the bench. You need guys that provide defensive prowess late in the games, and he is just simply not that guy.
Yep.
So unfortunately, BDLC is an F, and he's not going to be our last F.
No.
Going down this list.
Outfield was bad this year.
Yeah, it was really bad. And we talked about it. We need to make a little bit, we need to make some free agency moves in the corner of the outfield. So we'll see how that gets addressed, and then maybe we can revisit how they address BDLC. But why don't you get us going on Michael A. Taylor?
Oh boy. All right. So Michael A. Taylor, I'm going to give a D, because he still had a positive WAR given how bad his offensive stat line was, because I think he maybe regressed defensively this year compared to the year before, but he was good enough defensively where he put up a positive WAR with a 193 average this year. This is a guy that we were both high on for them signing this previous offseason. We thought that he'd be a good player up the middle who would provide some power and speed. He had 21 home runs the year before, and he's a guy that plays plus defense, one of the best center fielders in the game. But extremely underwhelming season here in Pittsburgh. I don't know if it was due to the fact that he was signed kind of late and didn't really get ramped up and never got really into a groove or what, but it just didn't seem to work out. And I wanted to give him an F, but like he was decent enough defensively to accumulate a positive WAR. So I'm going to go D with this one. What do you think, Adam?
I got D- for the same reason. 50 WRC plus, 0.4 WAR, which is wild considering you're slashing 193, 253, 290 with an OPS of 543, man. Like so that's really, really bad. And he didn't get like the hate at the beginning of the year that Rowdy was getting.
Well, because he started a lot too, like in the first couple of weeks.
Right. And we put out the Michael A. Taylor hype video when he got signed because we were super high on it. And I stand by that at the time, right? You needed an everyday center fielder. You're not sold on Jack Sawinski. And a guy that hits 21 bombs in 2023, you're expecting to hit at least 10 to 15.
Yeah.
Like this 5 is unacceptable to the point. I mean, he didn't even play pretty much the second half of the season.
No.
I don't know what they were thinking with that. I mean, I wonder if there was any suitors that were looking for like a defensive replacement at the trade deadline where you could have maybe flipped him for,
a low level guy or
low level guy, right? Cash considerations, like a international prospect, international pool money. So really unfortunate stint in Pittsburgh for Michael A. Taylor that I'm going to try and forget about. I'm sure he's going to try and forget about. But yeah, it's going to have to be a D- for me, man.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive numbers are bad enough where it's like hard to ignore.
Yeah, right. So I guess we're going to go D on it.
D. Let's go D. Yeah.
Let's go D. That brings me to our favorite player, Jack Sawinski. Now I'll say this. I understand why a lot of people like Jack. For off the field reasons, Jack seems like a really nice guy. Doesn't cause any issues. His teammates seem to like him. Seems down to earth. A lot of people put a lot of emphasis with Jack on the numbers and the metrics, which we've talked about countless times, where, hey, this guy doesn't like the eye test. He doesn't pass it, but look at all these advanced metrics. Look at the stat cast. Look how hard he's hitting the ball. Look at the launch angle. He's putting the ball in the seats 20 times a year. Foolish Baseball compared him to Mike Trout. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. That was like 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago. And it's funny because we were on another podcast, both of us, and I brought up that same point. We were talking about it, and I said Jack Sawinski has the same numbers as Mike Trout, like advanced metrics. My God. Never again. And a lot of people bought into that.
Like advanced metrics in terms of like bat speed or?
I mean, I don't even think they were tracking bat speed then, but I think like launch angles, barrels, speed, arm strength, like WRC plus. I can't remember the exact other ones that he was comparing him to, but I guess like at that point of his career, his numbers were the same, if not better than Mike Trout. Not stats, not like slash lines.
Sure.
But all these advanced metrics that you'll find on Baseball Savant and Fangraphs. And people love that. People buy into that because that gives people hope, right? That gives people a baseline to say, okay, like, well, the expected batting average could be this. So like, we still need to put more resources into making this guy better, to developing him. Well, guess what? The Pirates don't have great player development. And Jack Sawinski, to me, proved that he is what he is this year. And he is a AAA player. who struggled in AAA. My grade is an F. I'll get to the grade first. My grade's an F. People were calling for him to be an all-star this year, like to really have a breakthrough year. And like, hey, if he was able to put the ball in the seats 20 to 25 times, like I can see that. But his defense regressed. He went from a 2 run value last year to a -7 this year. He was a -1.1 WAR player, 62 WRC plus, only 9 home runs. And listen, I know he was sent down a couple of times. 182, 264, 324, 588 OPS. Jack Sawinski can, again, he cannot be considered a part of this core, a part of this rebuild. I hate using that word now because we shouldn't be using rebuild, but he has been used in that sense in the past couple of years. So it's frustrating because you get guys like this and you get them in the system and there's a lot of hope and people talk them up, and just to see the regression in real time is super sad, but I can't see him being on this team next year.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, everyone. I think my feelings on Jack Sawinski are well documented. I'm gonna give him an F minus.
All right,
I'll give him an F.
I mean, F minus, dude. I mean, if that's a grade, it could be deserving. Like, don't get me wrong.
I like this has always been my feeling on Jack Sawinski. I've never been a believer, and I will own that. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to take a victory lap because I'm not. I don't like to take a victory lap on guys failing. But he is definitely. I didn't understand his approach this year. He was like overly passive, and he seemed to take a large step backwards in terms of just straight approach. Like, we know his ability to hit the ball hard, barrel the baseball, and put the ball in the seats. We know he has that ability, but like, he put himself in a lot of bad situations this year at the plate in terms of his approach and his plate discipline. He was overly passive, and I don't think that works for a guy like him.
Yeah.
On top of that, go ahead.
I was going to say the K rate went down.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, he seemed to regress in the outfield too. Like, this is a guy that we thought could stick up the middle, but he put up a negative WAR in the defensively in the outfield. And I thought it was a massive step backwards. But before this year, I cautioned, if we can go back on the episodes at the beginning of the year and where I mentioned, like, we know what this guy is. Like, he has before the season, he had almost 1,000 career major league at bats. Like, we knew what he was. And in my opinion, he was a 4th outfielder. Like, that's his ceiling. But we'll see. I don't see him being on this roster next year. Like you said, I see him going to a rebuilding club like the White Sox or something like that, and trying to, find himself on a team like that. But he can't be a part of a contending team unless he makes a massive, massive improvement at the plate.
100% agree. There's a couple. I mean, we're not going to go into the Billy McKinneys of the world. It's even hard to maybe even touch on Billy Cook, really.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll throw in Ji-Hwan Bae there for a little bit.
Yep.
He only had 74 at bats this year, 81 plate appearances compared to 371 plate appearances last year. So that's a positive that he didn't get that much playing time, but just, you know what you're going to get from Ji-Hwan Bae as an outfielder. His range is god awful.
Yeah. I feel like
he has tremendous speed.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
I think the experiment is over. Like, we know he's got the speed. We know the dream of him being a leadoff hitter, up the middle player was there at one point, but I think it's gone. Like, he needs a GPS when he's out in the outfield. Like, he has no idea where he's at, or for as fast as he is, he does not take good routes to the ball. He's even worse in the infield. So I'm going to give him an F. If we're giving it grades, like, he's not a future part of this organization.
Yeah, it's an F. You might say, hey, like, I've seen Ji-Hwan Bae make spectacular plays. Go back and look at, I'm willing to bet 90% of those plays. Look at the first step that he takes. It's always the wrong first step and then a weird route to get to the ball. And he's forced to lay out. He's forced to try and make a spectacular play. Good players make hard plays look easy.
Yep.
He does not do that. So, unfortunately, G1 Bay is an F. Killed it in AAA this year. And we talked about it with Nikki G last week. We've talked about it with other guests on the show. The jump from AAA to the major leagues has never been greater. And it shows like, hey, a guy like this, a guy like Jack Sawinski, a guy like Henry Davis could tear it up in AAA. That doesn't mean you're going to find success in the major leagues unless you're able to make specific adjustments and have a good mental approach. And it just doesn't seem like that's the case here. He does not need to be on this roster.
Yeah. No, I agree. Let's talk about O'Neal Cruz real quick if we're done talking about G1 Bay, because O'Neal Cruz is our new center fielder, right? Like this was the big storyline at the second half of the season. Moved from shortstop to center field. Personally, I think it's going to do wonders for his long-term value. I think it was a good move, and I thought he looked serviceable in his first run in center field. I really did, and I think he's only going to get better. Maybe this is ambitious. Maybe this is, I don't know. I'm not going to go too conservative here with my grade. I'm going to give him a B because I thought too this year, first full season in Major League Baseball, he hit around 270 with 20 plus bombs. Like I thought that was a very successful year for O'Neal Cruz, and I think that those numbers are going to go up next year, at least in the power department. And I was encouraged by the way he looked in the outfield. He didn't look lost. He looked willing and capable. And I think if you put two really solid corner outfielders next to him next year, I think it's gonna look a lot even better. So I was encouraged. I don't know how you feel about O'Neal Cruz in center field, but I'm excited.
I love it actually. Yeah. And my immediate reaction to the move when it first happened was why?
Yeah.
Like
I thought it was early.
It was early. That was 2024 is pretty much his first full season. It was his first full season of Major League Baseball coming off a horrific ankle injury.
Yep.
That being said, he did lead the league other than Elly De La Cruz in errors and shortstop. He had a -3 outs above average at shortstop. He had a +2 outs above average in center field. He makes very difficult plays look so easy because of the large strides that he's able to make and the straight line speed that he has, which he was not able to display that at shortstop. Mm-hmm. Right? The range at shortstop was not good because it's hard for a 6'7" lanky guy like him to get to it. Like, believe it or not, you think like a big guy can like move like that, but that's quickness. That's quick twitch rather than straight line speed where you can get the motor going a little bit. That plays a lot better in center field when you just kind of say, hey, go out there, let it roam, right? Mm-hmm. Also, the arm, which we were a little spoiled with at shortstop, where he was able to show it off at times, that's going to play a lot better in center field as well. Because whatever throw you saw 98 and 100 miles per hour across the diamond, you're going to see that in the outfield, but it's going to be to save a game-winning run, right? It's going to be able to hold runners out of scoring position or hold a guy at second base. He's going to be able to play with that. And as he learns the nuances of center field, he's going to keep getting better and better. And you're talking about a guy that has all the tools to succeed and potentially be one of the game's better players out there. We've seen it happen with guys like Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis, who couldn't cut it at shortstop, or like with Merrill, they just wanted to get him up, sooner rather than later. And these guys are athletic enough to let it happen. And I think he's more athletic than both of those guys combined.
100%.
And the talent is through the roof. So if anyone can do it, I think he can. Also, I think it's going to allow him to hit a lot more, man. He's going to, yes, you have to be focused out there, but it's a different animal, right? You're not as close to the game. You're allowed to take a deep breath. You're going to have time off a little bit. You're not going to get as much action. You're not going to have as much to worry about, that many assignments. It's just more positioning. So
I also think the profile for the bat in center field is, there's a lot less, not less expectations, but like compared to shortstop there might be. And I hate personally, I hate when they say like the bat doesn't profile at first base or third base. Like I hate that. Like I want a solid bat wherever he plays in the infield. Like I think those two, I don't know why they're put together in terms of evaluating talent, but I do think that the expectations will be eased on him next year. And I think offensively, he's going to take a big step forward. I thought he had a great year this year offensively, but I think it's looking up for the future as well.
Yeah, we're talking about a 30-30 guy here.
Yeah.
In his first season coming back, hit 21 bombs. And I think he probably is disappointed with that if you were to ask him. Because I think, there was some time off. Like they were a little conservative with him this year in terms of making sure that he was okay. But like 97th percentile in barrel rate, 99th percentile in exit velocity, expected batting average 266, hard hit 97th percentile, bat speed 100th percentile, 100. So it's really just like, hey, are we going to continue to improve off of lefties, which he showed he could do? That's another thing, man. Like he was almost Jack Sawinski like when it came to lefties, to the point where they were moving him down in the lineups to like the 7th spot or just not playing him, which is crazy. You need a guy like O'Neal Cruz to play every single day, no matter the matchup. That's not a platoon guy. That's not a guy that you strategize with. That's a guy that you go out there and say, let it rip.
Agreed.
And I think the outfield move makes that even more possible. It's a special player, and I'm excited to see the adjustments that he's going to be able to make, improving off of those lefty on lefty at bats, not striking out as much, being able to put the ball in play a little bit more. Because I think with him, it's like you can talk about guys like Jared Triolo or IKF or Nicky G, where it's like, hey, we need to get barreled a ball here, right? We need to just make contact, put the ball in play. With him, it's like, yeah, if you put the ball in play, there's a good chance that you're hitting it 110 miles per hour, no matter the situation, or that you're going to be able to provide that power with how fast he swings the bat and how strong he is. So it's maybe a little bit more like, hey, let's square up a little bit more. Let's cut down the chase and get a good pitch to hit. And the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I agree. I think shorten the arms, and like Aaron Judge did with his swing. And I think the power numbers are going to go up. I think the slug and OBP is going to go up. And, I'm very optimistic on O'Neal Cruz going forward.
Absolutely. Is there anyone else we need to touch on here?
I don't know if I want to necessarily give grades to guys like Billy Cook. Nick York played like a game in the outfield. I think Billy McKinney played a couple games. He's not going to be part of the roster next year. Josh Palacios, like, I just think I'd give him like a C if I gave him a grade. Like, I think he's like a vibes guy. I think he provides some energy to the lineup. I think he provides stuff that you can't quantify. And I'd be happy with him as a 4th outfielder or I don't know, like a guy that comes in and replaces an injured corner outfield guy. Like I think he's valuable in ways that you can't quantify. Other than that, I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but I think we talked about the meat of the outfield.
Yeah, I would agree with Palacios. I think, injuries killed him this year, right? He didn't start off with the big league club because he was injured. Then there was a lot of rehab going on, and then he kind of just got stuck in Indianapolis. Only 67 plate appearances this year. Hit some, dude, you can't deny he has pop.
No, for sure.
The swing is there. He has good pop, but like more importantly, like you said, a guy with his type of energy and charisma and like what he's able to bring to the game on a day-to-day basis is needed in a clubhouse. So yeah, like if you can have a guy like him coming off the bench in clutch situations or a 4th outfielder, like I would love Palacios in that role, but it's a matter of staying healthy and consistent, and hopefully he gets some more at bats next year. But I think it's unfair to really give him any type of grade. So like I would say just because he hasn't played much, you kind of just give him a C.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the outfield. Do we move on to the Arizona Fall League?
Yeah, we'll do maybe infield on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go to the AFL and see what's happening with some of the prospects.
All righty. I'll kick us off. We'll go Sunday. I don't think Scottsdale Scorpions won a game this week. I'm just going to put that out there.
Surprise.
Yeah. Surprise. The Saguaros. No, let's go Sunday. They lost that first game this week, 4-2 against the Salt River Rafters. Termarr led off, played some shortstop. He's played 2 games at shortstop so far in the AFL. He went 1 for 4 with a triple, a walk, and a K, and 2 stolen bases. He's at 308 on the fall. And then we have Siani. Sammy Siani has played really well this fall. He played right field in this game. He went 1 for 3 with a run, scored a walk, a K, and a stolen base. He's hitting 440. Derek Diamond started the game. He went 3 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 4 Ks, gave up 1 home run for that 1 earned run, 4.26 ERA. And then Eddie Yean has been struggling a little bit. He blew a save. He went 1 1/3, 1 hit, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 1 K. On to Tuesday.
On the Tuesday, played the Salt River Rafters, lost 4-2. Termarr had a base knock, 1 run with a base knock with a double, struck out, hitting 300. Siani 0 for 5, 2 Ks, averaged down to 367. And then Christian Curtis got a save opportunity that was blown with a third of an inning pitch, 2 hits, 4 earned, 3 walks, 1 K, and a home run. His ERA is at 11.37.
It seemed like he had the command on Tuesday, unfortunately, for our guy Christian. But this is the fall. They're working on stuff, and you don't know what they're doing day to day either. So let's move on to Wednesday. The Scottsdale Scorpions lost to the Peoria Javelinas.
There you go.
There we go. I redeemed myself. 11-10. Siani had a pinch hit opportunity, went 1 for 1. He's back up to 387. Kervin Pichardo played second. He went 2 for 5 with 2 runs, a homer, and 3 RBIs. He's at 286. Giovanni Blanchard has been hitting the ball. He was a backup catcher in Altoona this year. He went 4 for 5 with a home run, 3 RBIs, and a K. He's at 389. Brennan Bedois earned a hold. He's been good after that very first outing, which elevated his ERA. He went an inning, no hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, a K, 15.75 ERA.
On to Thursday, played the Mesa Solar Sox, lost again 4-1. Sammy Siani 1 for 4, 2 Ks, and Kervin Pichardo 1 for 3 with a double. Had a throwing error. He's hitting 292 right now. Not much else happening on this one, Scott.
And then Friday, they played the surprise Saguaros. They lost 10-9. Termarr went 1 for 5 with a run, 1 RBI, 3 Ks. Sammy Siani went 3 for 4 with 2 runs, a double, and a walk. He stays hot. He's at 410. Valentin Linares went 2 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, 1 walk, 2 Ks. He's got a 1.69 ERA. And then Eddie Yean blew his second save of the week, 1 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 1 K. Scottsdale, man, it's time to start to rebuild, don't you think?
Not winning a single game in the whole week. That's rough when you're playing every single day. Really bad. Saturday, again, surprise Saguaros lost 5-2. Pichardo 0 for 3. Blanchard 0 for 2 with a walk. Derek Diamond, 1 inning pitch, no hits, 2 Ks. So there's a positive there. He's got an ERA at 3.68. The only notes I have on this, Scott, I was doing some swing comparisons. I was looking at Sammy Siani, who you mentioned is having a really good fall. I'm going to say this, and I'll preface it with this. I am in no way comparing him to this player. I'm not saying they are the same player by any means. I'm talking about a similar swing path and finish. Okay. When I look at Sammy Siani's swing path with his little leg kick, I see a little bit of a Corbin Carroll type finish with it. If you go put them side by side, it's a really nice lefty 2-hand finish. The only difference is Corbin Carroll has a little bit of a toe tap before he brings the leg up. If you take that out, they look similar in terms of the body movement and how they get the bat through the zone. Again, I am not comparing him to Corbin Carroll. That being said, I mean, that's like a pretty good, if you're trying to get to a certain point, like Corbin Carroll is a good goal, but just something to throw out there.
I thought you were going to say this guy for the Cardinals named Michael Siani that he might look like, but
I should have went with that. But no, I mean, it's nice to see him succeed against all these top prospects. It's good to see Termarr succeeding out there as well. So there's not much you can ask for other than just good reps, good at bats, and having some fun out in Arizona.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's the Arizona Fall League this week. They are off today, and I think they might be off. We're recording on a Sunday, by the way. I think they might be off on Mondays too, like the normal minor league season, and they'll start on Tuesday. So whether we record on Wednesday or Thursday this week, we'll bring you some updates on those games when we record. But let's go on and talk about the MLB playoffs, Adam. Let's talk about not just the playoffs, but the World Series, because that's where we're at right now.
It's been exciting. I don't think we were able to touch on the end of the series for
championship
the
series.
Guardians and the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Mets.
Yep.
First of all, like, great job with the Mets. Like, that was a hell of a season. You just ran into a team that was not going to be stopped.
And you exceeded expectations greatly. Like, this is a team that came into this year focused on 2025 because that's when a lot of money came off the books, and they were the way they were constructed, they look like a 500 team. So getting to the championship series, I feel like the Mets have to feel really good about their organization.
Absolutely. And then the Guardians, shout out to them as well.
Yep.
I know we treated the Mets like they were like this Cinderella story, but the Guardians continue just to be the model of consistency when it comes to small market teams. It just shows that it can be possible, right? Like, they can put together something within their budget that does work. We've talked about maybe acquiring some players from a team like the Guardians because they're able to pump out all these guys. They have guys lying in wait. That series was awesome. I really enjoyed watching that. That Juan Soto at bat was maybe one of the best at bats I've ever seen, just like watching baseball. The way he's able to command the box, and I know we talk about the Soto shuffle and like the stare down, but like, you can just see it. Like, when you're looking at him, he's talking to himself. It's like he's not going to miss. Like, he is in full control of what is going on, and it worked, right? Like, he's able to put a good swing on a ball. Like, he knows what he's going to get, and he's so disciplined at the plate where he gives himself the best chance every single time. And without Soto, I mean, that at bat made that trade worth it.
100%. I think we've heard this comparison thrown out before, but like, he is definitely the closest thing we've seen to Ted Williams. And I'm not like that we've seen Ted Williams. We're not old enough, but like, just knowing the type of player that he was and the discipline that he had at the plate, the bat, the ball skills and everything like that. Like, Juan Soto is definitely the closest thing that we've seen. And it's really fun to watch, man. Like, the whole shuffle thing, like, I remember when he first came up at 19, he was in the World Series. I was like, all right, who's this cocky asshole? Like,
right.
Like that's just, I've never seen anyone do that, but I love it. Like, he literally taunts, like, guys do bat flips and stuff like that, but he taunts having a good eye at the plate. Like, that's a professional hitter, and he's fun to watch.
Yeah, future Pirate, who knows? And then we go to the World Series, man. I know a lot of people, I'll address this right off the bat because a lot of Pirates fans had something to say about a Dodgers Yankees World Series. I understand this is like two of the top payrolls in the game outside like the Mets. I understand this is like Goliath versus Goliath. If you say you're not going to watch this because of that,
You're lying.
One, you are a liar, and two, you're not a real baseball fan.
Yeah.
This is Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Garrett Cole, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Yamamoto. Like, the list goes on. And those are just like some of the top, like 1 through 9, these guys have both of these teams have guys that can perform. So it's the best on best. Like, this is what the World Series should be. And it's proven to be two really solid games so far. Garrett Cole dealt in game 1. Jack Flaherty dealt in game 1. The ending was spectacular. Freddie Freeman grand slam. And game 2 was a little bit less. I mean, like, it was still a good game. Yamamoto dealt. Rodon was a little shaky, and the Dodgers just have so much power in that lineup. But I think when they go back to the Bronx for 3 games, like, the Yankees are going to take a couple. Like, they've proven that, like, they are there. Like, they have the guys that can do it. Judge definitely needs to step it up a little bit. He's just not comfortable right now. He's trying to make too much happen.
I'm predicting a Trey Turner-like reception at Yankee Stadium for
I hope so.
Aaron Judge, because he's a guy that they need to get going. If he was going, man, like, I mean, that game one, they had that. They had that game. And, him striking out 3 times a game is not helping matters at the top of the lineup. You got Glaber, who's had great at-bats in the leadoff spot. You've had Soto, who has, I feel like, a great at-bat every single time he's at the plate. If Judge was going, it'd be a difference maker. So we'll see. I think they're going to take a couple in New York. If Rob Manfred has anything to do with this is going at least 6.
Right.
And I can't help but think, I don't want to be conspiratorial. I know people want to be mad about it, especially in the Pirates fan base, like 2 of the top payrolls going up against each other. But these are 2 teams that we haven't seen in the World Series, who haven't seen play each other in a while.
1981.
And these are 2 of the most historic franchises. And I feel like part of me just thinks after last year's Diamondbacks Rangers series, they're like, all right, we need to we got to get the viewership up. Not that they rigged anything, but I'm sure they're not mad about Dodgers Yankees in the World Series. So it's a good series. Enjoy it. Enjoy great baseball. Enjoy 2 historic franchises with great rosters going up against one another. And Paul Skeens will be there next year.
That being said, the World Series tickets, they put out like the seat map for the Dodgers, the Yankees, and like the cheapest seat was like $1,200.
Crazy.
For upper deck. If the Pirates make the World Series in our lifetime, and I said, hey, Scott, do you want to go to the game? He said, yeah, absolutely. And I said, okay, Venmo me $1,500 and we can go sit in section 316 at the top. Are you paying $1,500 to go to a Pirates World Series game?
I honestly, I can see into the ballpark from my rooftop, so I might just go up there.
I always say, like, hey, if they are there, I am there. Like, I can't miss that opportunity. But $1,500, man.
Same. I don't know, man. It would be tough, and I'm sure I have a feeling that opening day tickets next year are going to be not easy to come by, just given the Yankees are in town and all that. Paul Skeens, but you'd have to think about it, but we'll see.
Shout out the ballpark pass. Hopefully that applies.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Because if not, we're screwed. I cannot pay $1,500.
Can we get a podcaster discount?
Right. Yeah. Hopefully we're credentialed by then. Awesome. Well, hey, Scott, good ep. If you don't already follow us on all the socials, go check out the Nick Gonzalez episode, man. That was shout out to Nicky G. What a nice guy. It was really nice to sit down and talk ball. And we definitely got into the nuances of baseball.
Yeah, let me jump in on that real quick. I think that was an amazing interview, and Nicky G was a great conversation. And I just interning and being around professional players, you know who the good guys are by the way they treat the people beneath them, right? Like the interns, the clubbies, the podcasters, and Nicky G is one of the most polite and just overall great guys I think I've talked to in the game so far. So highly recommend you go listen to him, because it was a fun conversation. He's just a great guy and someone you want to root for. Yeah, and the baseball IQ is through the roof, and the adjustments that he's able to make and the work ethic that he has is undeniable. Obviously, go subscribe to the YouTube, leave a comment, like the video. If you just listen, download it, leave a 5-star review, follow us on all the socials. Still working on the OnlyFans. I'm sorry. We'll get there. I promise. Go buy some Bucko Banter merch at buckobanter.com. I just got the script hoodie, Scott, and I got a mug that I'm going to bring to work, and I'm going to drink out of every single day. And if anybody asks where I got it, I'm going to say, hey, buckobanter.com. Hell yeah. Let's go. So as always, we appreciate the support. And until next time, raise it. Raise it. Rockin' 101, she compliment my taste. Whiskey in my lemonade, cause I like the way it tastes. Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates, or the steak by the plates.